Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and guys, what an exciting, entertaining, back and forth main event in Cancun, Mexico, between William El Camarón Zepeda and Tevin Farmer. Ladies and gentlemen, both guys. First of all, let's talk about Zepeda's performance, man. I mean, has to be one of the most, in my book, one of the most impressive displays of pressure and punches in bunches. At the same time, Zepeda, and I've said it before the fight in my prediction video, that Zepeda is going to adjust. The pressure is going to be more intense, and the punches are going to be more relentless. And I did say that he was going to stop Farmer. Now, a couple occasions, it looked like Zepeda was on the verge of doing that, but Tevin, of course, showing his heart, guts, durability, and weathering the storm. Not just storm, but storm, because there were multiple occasions where Zepeda looked like he was about to get Tevin Farmer out of there, but that was not the case. But all in all, Zepeda's performance was relentless, punches and punches, a lot of punches, crazy, suffocating pressure, and Tevin Farmer just handling that thing like a true professional fighter, with composure, calmness, and at the same time, Tevin Farmer will sneak in some uppercuts, counter left hands, left uppercuts up on the inside, popping Zepeda's head back. Farmer creating space, launching his left cross right on William Zepeda's chin, and it was just back and forth between these two guys. But Zepeda, with the pressure, the punches, the work rate, and just non-stop action, non-stop aggression, non-stop action from Zepeda in this fight. And Zepeda he's always been an aggressive fighter, but in the past few fights, he's been like really relentless, really a machine in there. And last night against Tevin Farmer was no exception, man. I mean, that has to be his best performance of his career in my book. I've seen Zepeda throw a lot of punches and be aggressive like he always does, but that was he raised the bar in my book. And Tevin Farmer, you gotta give hats off to Tevin Farmer. He was able to weather that storm, no matter how many punches and how intense the pressure was. You gotta tip your hat out to Tevin Farmer for being able to have success as well, even while Zepeda was coming forward and throwing a lot of punches, because all in between those stuff, Tevin Farmer was countering with left uppercuts, left hand crosses, combinations, letting his hands fly, even with an injured elbow, I think it was, that he injured in one of those rounds, in the mid-rounds, earlier in the fight, and he was basically fighting with almost one arm throughout the whole fight. And yeah, Tevin Farmer, the heart he showed, the courage he displayed, being able to fight back, throw back, and just in the trenches in there. And it was just a tremendous fight. The first fight was a really close fight, and this fight to me, and with action, and this fight is just as action-packed. If you ask me if it was as close as the first, I thought it was a close fight, especially when Tevin Farmer, I think he dropped Zepeda in that last round. Some called it a slip. I called it a punch on top of the head of Zepeda, and Zepeda went down, but the referee never called it. And if they had called that knockdown, that fight would have been like maybe a draw or a split decision victory for any of the two, because it was really close. As aggressive and crazy of an output Zepeda had, it was a close fight because Tevin Farmer was also countering really well multiple times. He was winning rounds too. That left uppercut, the left hand, those were landing, and Farmer at times were throwing his hands, landing in combinations, and just so in a way to where he's making the fight really close. You know, even though Zepeda was aggressive and threw a lot of punches, there were rounds where Zepeda stepped off the gas. Tevin Farmer countered him, busting him up, busting his nose up. So it was a really tremendous fight. It was a good main event. To the point where the commentators were saying, let's see a third fight. And who knows? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But Zepeda defeated, at the end of the day, Zepeda had defeated Tevin Farmer twice, so maybe Zepeda will look elsewhere. Well, Tevin Farmer, I don't know. In the interview, he was like, I don't know, man. I'm sacrificing a lot. I'm training a lot. To then come up short and not get the decisions, it's just, and the fight, and you can't blame Tevin Farmer in the frustration, because in the fights with Tevin Farmer and Murataya and the first Zepeda fight, you could argue that he won both fights. Murataya only looked good in that last round when he clipped Farmer with the right hook. Other than that, the other rounds, Farmer basically outboxed him. And Farmer did the same thing and dropped Zepeda. And he did not get the decisions in those fights. And in this fight was a close fight as well. And I'm not gonna say Tevin Farmer won it, but it was a close fight. Zepeda deserved it, especially with all that work he did in there, all that pressure, all that punches. He must have had a monster training camp with all those sparrings with Subriel Matias in the past. Cameron Zepeda is the real deal. He's one of the top lightweights in the world. He showed it. And but Tevin Farmer, I think he'll be back. I don't think it's the end for him, even though he has 8 losses on his record. And if it is the end for Tevin Farmer, well then he had a pretty solid career. Former world champion, super featherweight, IBF champion, and he had a good run. But So let me know what you guys think about Williams, Camarón, Zepeda. Who should he fight next? In the lightweight division, you got Shakur Stevenson. Lightweight division, you got, one second, guys. In the lightweight division, you got Shakur Stevenson. Let's see. Looking at the Box Live rankings right here, right in front of me. 1 second. So we have Keyshawn Davis. You can put William Zepeda in there with Keyshawn Davis. Any top lightweight. You know what's crazy? They got Vasily Lomachenko as the IBF lightweight champion. Now Camarón versus Vasily Lomachenko is also a good fight. Now that's if Vasily Lomachenko is still fighting. It's interesting though that he's still a champion. Now, William Zepeda is the WBC interim champion. Shakur is the main champion, so that's why fans are clamoring for that fight. And I'll be honest, Shakur Stevenson, styles make fights, so I have to say that Shakur has a style to really outbox and decision Zepeda. Styles make fights. On paper is is one of the top fights to make a lightweight, but Shakur Stevenson, I can see him controlling, neutralizing Zepeda's aggression, countering him, outboxing him to a decision. Tank Davis, WBA champion. Zepeda versus Tank Davis would be a tremendous fight. I can see Zepeda putting that same pressure he put on Tevin, and the punches on Tank. I can see him doing that, but he's got to be careful because Tevin Farmer was able to light up Zepeda with uppercuts, left uppercuts, and left crosses. So imagine Tank now, who's a much heavier puncher, lighting up Zepeda with counter shots and uppercuts. That's Zepeda may be looking up at the lights, but all in all, is fights that need to happen at 135, and I feel that win, lose, or draw, Zepeda's gonna bring it. He's gonna give them a fight, and yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. So let me know what you guys think, ladies and gentlemen, in the comment section. Who do you think Kamaru should fight next? Shakur, Tank, Lomachenko, or Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis, the newly crowned WBO champion. That's a tremendous fight. Imagine Kamaru's aggression, like how he had with Farmer, like he did with Farmer, versus Keyshawn Davis. And Keyshawn Davis is on his back foot, launching his right uppercut, left hooks, combinations to the body, to the head, on his back foot, creating space, and Keyshawn is a dog. So imagine, that would be a tremendous fight. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Wilson Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing right here. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.